Full disclosure, I am not a veterinarian, nor am I a veterinarian technician. I am merely just a dog owner looking to relay information to others who may be dealing with a similar situation that I have. So your furry loved one has been diagnosed or is suspected of having vestibular syndrome, and you may be left wondering, now what? First, let's take a look at just what geriatric vestibular syndrome is. Geriatric vestibular syndrome is also known as idiopathic vestibular syndrome. The vestibular system helps the dog to coordinate its position and movement of his or her head by detecting linear and rotational movements of their head. The vestibular system's central components are located in the brain, while its peripherals are located in the middle ear of the dog. There are two sets of receptors involved in the middle ear, one to detect rotational acceleration, which is pretty much movements from left and right and in circles, and one to detect linear acceleration and gravity, which is to keep the dog on its feet. If we take a look at the diagram, you can see the semicircular canals. Each has fluid in them that are brushed against sensory nerves or hairs that will then alert the dog's cerebellum to utilize their coordination and to keep their balance. When there is something wrong here, it will throw off the dog's balance. It may seem like the dog is experiencing vertigo. Some of the symptoms that are included in geriatric vestibular syndrome are as follows: lack of coordination, motion sickness, nystagmus, which is the rapid back and forth eye movement, circling, head tilt, which is usually tilted to where the lesion is, falling to one side, trouble with nerves controlling the face and the head. The most telling sign of geriatric vestibular syndrome is the head tilt. In this image, you'll see that my dog Varen is in a perpetual state where she keeps her head tilted to the side of where her ear infection is. I suspect that she does this in order to prevent her world from spinning around her. One of the most integral parts of taking care of a dog recovering from geriatric vestibular syndrome is to keep them from falling over. This includes carrying them up and down steps, as well as keeping them off of furniture. If you cannot avoid having the dog travel through steps, best practice would be to carry them up and down yourself, or keep the steps blocked off with a baby gate. Today, my dog Varen was diagnosed with this disease. I was completely unaware of what it entailed, but I will admit I was very concerned for her health when she was unable to stand on her own. I awoke this morning to several spots of vomit, a bowel movement at the top of the stairs, and a wet spot, presumably where she urinated in the night. I was greeted by her wobbling and falling down while she walked, and her head was unusually tilted to the side. One of the things that I feared the most was that she had suffered from a stroke in the night, as she is an older dog. The hospital sent her back home with two medicines. One was ear drops, which are administered once daily, 5 drops in each ear, as well as meclizine, which is a pill that she needs to take once a day. In this video, you can clearly see that Varen is suffering from imbalance issues. I took this video after we had come in from the hospital, which they gave her fluids and anti-nausea medicines to help stop her motion sickness. One of the things that it did immediately was she regained her appetite as well as her thirst. The veterinarian informed us that we should expect to see improved results within 72 hours. However, we shouldn't expect to see her back to normal behavior until it has been approximately 7 to 12 days.